when you come into the multipurpose room on Tuesday for our competition, you're going to find the target waiting for you in the middle of the room. And then scattered around the room, you're going to see all of our cannons lined up at various distances away from the target. So here Mrs. King is at
4.5 meters.
Okay, so she's going to look at her data and try to figure out what angle, what size rubber band, what force she wants to use in order to try to go 4.5 meters.
So I chose 30 degrees, and I'm going to pull it back to between 12 and 13 and hopefully let it fly. Ooh, I hit the black. Then
And
Mr.
she landed on
Mackenzie's
the...
going to go from group to group, so we have to be able to make quick decisions.
So she only got one shot, so she got close to her target. She's going to have to think about what changes does she want to make before she gets to her next turn. You only get one turn each time.
Now it's time to put that data to use. So after you've gathered all the rest of your data today as your group, the next thing you're going to do is make sure everybody in the group has all of this data in their packet. Everybody's got to have it written down and have access to it. So maybe one person did all the recording, or you recorded everything in one packet for the group. Maybe that person reads off the data values just one at a time as the other group members fill in their data packet as you just work through each of the rows. Or maybe you put it in the middle of everybody so everybody can copy, or find something that works for your group. But then your next task is to do the actual calculation. Now you're going to find the mean. Remember to find the mean. You add up all of your values. So we're going to do all 8 of our trials. We're going to add them up. So in our calculator we would do 1.13 plus 2.27 plus 0.83 plus 2.61 plus 1.03 plus 0.68 plus 0.85 plus 0.56. That would give us 9.96. To find the mean, you add them all up and then you divide by the number of terms, or the number of pieces of data. In this case, there was 8 trials, so we added up 8 numbers, and we would get a mean of 1.25. So that means when we use a small rubber band, if we go at 10 centimeters with an angle of 0, the average distance it goes is 1.25 meters. So we can get a good idea of how far it goes on average for each of these different settings. Here's why we need that information. As you saw in the beginning of the video with our introduction for the target competition on Tuesday, you're going to come into the competition, be assigned a station, and you're not going to know until you get there what distance you're trying to hit the target from. So you need to have your data available to you to be able to make a decision on what size rubber band do I want to use, what force, what angle do I want to use to try to hit that target. So for instance, maybe you walk in and the target is 3 meters away from us. So you look at your data and you notice that here I got close to 3 meters, or I was at least getting close to it. At a lot of nice consistent 2.5, the 2.6, 2.7s, all lined up in here. So not quite as far as I need to go, but at least it was a consistent distance for us. So that was with 10 centimeters and 40 degrees. We know if we go up to 50 degrees, it actually started going a shorter distance. It didn't go as far. But what if we change the force? What if we bump the force up to 15 maybe? Maybe that'll get us close to that 3. Or maybe only go up to a 12 or a 13. Something where a little bit more force, we can expect it to go a little bit farther of a distance. We're using that data to help us make those decisions. So maybe in a different group, you walk in and you are 5.5 meters away, 5.5 meters. So we've got some data here that gets us close to 5.5 meters. We find that for 20 centimeters and 0 degrees, we went an average of 5.27. But if you really break down your data, most of your numbers were in the 4s, a couple into the 5s, and then this one strange one that went all the way to 7.7. You probably remember that at these low angles, it tended to roll across the floor a little bit. So tough to be consistent with it. Whereas here, at 10 degrees, you notice a lot more consistency. Everything's just a little below 5 or a little above 5. So we know we can kind of count on that one being consistent time after time, but it's a little short. Here we did 20 centimeters, but at 20 degrees, we got some distances in the 5s, up to 6, almost up to 7, but a lot of 5.5s and 6s. So we were just a little above our mean. So maybe we back it off a little bit. Instead of 20 for our force, maybe we do 18. Or maybe you choose 10 degrees and up the force a little bit. Maybe you go up to 23 or 24 because we want that 4.98, about 5, to be a little higher to get us to 5.5. But that's the analysis you're going to do in tonight's homework is, given these different distances, can you think about using your data, what force, what size rubber band, what angle would I use? And it doesn't have to be a 10 or a 20 force. You can go in between those in order to try to get to the target distance that you're aiming for. But use that data to help drive those decisions instead of just guessing. So here's your game plan for today. Finish gathering that data as quickly as you can. Hopefully some of the groups already have that done. Share the data with all of your group members. I put a star here because you gotta do this before you leave class today, because once everybody goes home for the weekend, you don't have access to that data. So even if you have to stop early and you didn't get to all of the rows in your data table, make sure everybody does have the data you do have. Calculate the mean for each set of data. You can use your calculator. You're more than welcome to work together as a group. But if that doesn't get done in class, it is your responsibility to get done. And then complete the worksheet of analysis questions. The same thought process that I was just going through in those last couple questions is what your homework's about. Those calculations and your questions must be completed when you walk in on Tuesday morning for class, or you do not participate in the competition. So if you don't get it done in class, it is your responsibility to get it done over the weekend so that you're ready for the competition on Tuesday.